Welcome. A few updates this week. We have our guest speaker of the week.
Our first guest,
Nick Watts.
To some debate about whether I should have been the first guest speaker or not.
There was actually a lot of controversy about you being the first guest speaker this week. I will say that.
Yeah, and I felt none of it because generally I'm just happy to be the first.
That's true. I felt a lot of it. There was definitely some jealousy in my camp for sure. So it's fine. There's room for everyone. Somebody has to be the first.
That's true.
I'm sure Nick appreciates being the first.
I do. Vin Diesel. If you're not first, you're last.
God. Just so everyone knows, I've actually been doing a Fast and the Furious binge lately. But I'm not. Yeah, I love those movies, but I'm not doing them in order. So I started watching, because I've already seen the first one. So I watched the second one. I skipped the third one because meh. Then I watched the fifth one. Then I realized I hadn't seen the fourth one. So I went back and watched the fourth one. Now I'm on the sixth one.
So like Marvel, in the third, at the very end, there's an end credit scene that you need to watch.
Oh, didn't know that,
In the
Kate.
third. The rest of the movie, hot garbage.
It's terrible.
But the end of it,
Terrible.
you need to watch.
Okay, I will do that. All right, update. So I have a lot of things to say. I've been thinking about this podcast for days about how I was going to start it. So I feel like we need to start with the cocktail so that we can drink it, talk about it, everything, and then just move on to the rest of it. So this week's cocktail, I don't know what to call this. It's another TikTok recipe. Never tried it before. It sounds kind of strange. I don't know if it's going to be good. I'm missing some of the ingredients.
That's a good start.
Okay, in all fairness, it's supposed to have Saint Germain elderflower in it. I went to 2 different liquor stores and they did not have it.
Oh,
now,
my gosh.
Sure, I did not go to a BCL. I ran out of time. I assumed that the liquor stores I went to would have it. So, anyways, first things first, this is mint syrup. So it's simple syrup made with mint. If you don't know how to make simple syrup, it's a cup of water, you boil it, you add in a cup of sugar, let it dissolve, and then typically, how long would you say that you would boil it for before it'll start to thicken?
Usually about 25 minutes. It doesn't take very long.
Oh, really? I wouldn't let it go that long.
I thought it was like 5 minutes.
I would let it go for 5. So then I added a cup of mint. I cooked it for 5 minutes, let it sit in for another 5 minutes off of the stove. And I mean, it's not as thick maybe as it could be, but it smells really good.
That's what she said.
Wow. That's the first one that we've ever had of that.
Well played, Allie. Well played.
It smells pretty good.
It does smell really good.
This is not tequila. It is, in fact, mint syrup. Okay?
Good stuff.
So that's your first step. You're going to make some mint simple syrup. Then you're going to muddle some orange pepper, which I think is very strange, and I've never heard of that in a drink before. So we already muddled some in a shaker with some ice. We also added a bunch of freshly squeezed lime juice. I specifically did not use bottled lime juice because that's what the video said.
Perfect.
So freshly squeezed from 3 limes. Okay. Then we're going to add 2 ounces of gin. I'm using Bombay Sapphire gin, and I realize now that I didn't open this ahead of time. So, that was an easy open, thank God.
Oh my God.
First fail.
Okay.
Mint syrup is now everywhere, just so everyone knows. For those listening to the podcast,
I
yes,
did
this is
save
great.
it. Like I bought.
There's some mint everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 ounces now. I'm making 5 of these right now, so I'm just gonna keep adding a whole bunch of. Oh, and there we have the paper towel coming in. Perfect. Marcus is on the paper towel. Oh, also, Marcus is joining us on the podcast today, but he's gonna be off screen, but he does have a microphone. So, Marcus, could you say hello, please? Hello. That was very sultry.
Also, Johnny on the
Marcus is
spot
using
with
a
the
sexy
syrup.
voice today.
I feel as if this cocktail shaker is just not going to work for the amount of cocktails that I need to make right now because we're already quite full in the cocktail shaker and I haven't even added the syrup or the pineapple juice. So honestly, I just don't even know.
I mean,
I don't even know how this drink's going to go.
So far this is a fail.
I really don't. There's a whole lot of steps to this. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Now you're supposed to add an ounce of pineapple juice. I'm just going to free pour this in here because I'm very concerned about how this is going to go.
Okay.
is there ice in there?
Yes,
Yes.
there's
Okay,
ice.
so stir and not shake.
Oh, Nick, Yes, you're just very.
Because I know there's a spoon somewhere.
Oh my God.
It's a juggling act right now.
Here's our spoon.
Yes. In
This
full
is
disclosure,
terrible.
I did this to Muddle prior to. So
This
let's
is
just.
horrible. Everything. This is horrible. Okay.
It's like the Matrix. It's rebent
Okay.
back.
Now
Wow.
you're supposed to put in a half an ounce of mint syrup. Okay. You're also supposed to have a half ounce of Saint Germain elderflower, and we could not find that anywhere. So add in a half an ounce of Saint Germain elderflower. Oh my God, this is just horrific.
I can't imagine doing that with a mic in your face.
I know.
It makes
Like
it
that's-
so much harder.
Okay.
As a bartender, I'm
this
thinking-
goes over there. This is just going to go right here. Please take this. This, we're going to stir. Okay. Then you would strain this through a strainer, which I don't really know why. Oh, because of the muddled peppers. Okay, I would prefer if somebody else did this. So
I've already dropped mint syrup
I'm gonna
everywhere.
let
So
Nick worry
gonna
about
stay out of this
straining
one.
this. Okay, so we're straining it into a glass that has a large ice cube. I kind of like that because it's different. And then we're going to garnish it with some orange pepper. Now, the lady in the video was using these tiny little cookie cutters to make these cute little garnishes, and I just don't have those. So
no.
I hand cut a heart for each of you guys.
Oh, you guys. Wow.
And I cut a line in them.
Adorable.
So this is our finished cocktail. I don't even know if this is focusing or if you can see this cocktail, but that looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
It does look good.
Okay, so
Okay, I have to say I'm not excited to drink a cocktail after the week I just had.
oh yeah.
Oh, is that okay?
I learned that I'm now too old for birthday week.
It was Allie's birthday and
I'm
she
dying.
drank a lot. Okay, here's one for Nick. If you could please pass one on to Gabe. So we also have a watcher of this podcast this time. Marcus, this one's for you. We have a watcher of our podcast this week, which we've never had before either. So this is just a week of firsts. And Gabe's going to sit and judge us while we are doing this podcast. And she's going to remain very quiet and probably distract a lot of us.
It's really a live audience.
It really is a live audience. This is what it
We're
feels
growing.
like to be on live TV. And I'm honestly feeling the pressure a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, cheers.
Okay, so cheers.
cheers.
I didn't do a garnish because I ran out of yellow pepper.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I gave all of you guys the yellow pepper instead.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's
I like that.
that's really good.
Yeah, I like that.
Could I
No.
please have some? So there's a little bit of a bitterness kind of aftertaste, and I'm sensing
that's
that's the mint syrup.
Oh, I thought that was the pepper.
Oh, that could be a little bit of the pepper too.
I don't know.
I think that's what the Saint Germain is for, is to cut that little bit of the bitterness, the
That
pepper
makes sense.
and the mint.
Yeah,
So
that. Ooh, that's really
really good,
really
though. I
nice.
think-
Actually, that has a really nice aftertaste
I
to
think
it.
the Saint Germain would be a little too sweet if it's.
I kind of
I
agree.
agree.
With you.
Yeah.
Good. You made the recipe
I am
even
going to put
better.
my garnish in though.
Yeah, I definitely think that I will be making one of these again. All right, so that's our cocktail for the week. If everybody could please take a photo of their cocktail so we could put it onto our Instagram so that our viewers could see their cocktail, that would be great. AKA Allie, because yours still looks the best.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. So generally we like to start each episode with some shower thoughts. Now, I have a couple of them, but they're not all that great. So I wanted to open up the floor. Allie, do you have any blow dryer thoughts?
Blow dryer thoughts this week. That's when I have my shower thoughts. Usually blow drying.
Oh, Nick's watched. He's watched and listened to the podcast,
Both.
so he
Start
knows.
to finish.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm aware.
he knows
Okay.
all
Yeah.
about everything
Good,
that
good,
we've
good.
talked about on other episodes. so.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so that's a no. Nick, anything?
You know, I was really thinking about it, and there's just nothing that.
I thought of one.
Oh, Allie's on. Okay.
Teeth are the only part of your skeleton that you can see.
that is a deep shower
Oh
thought.
my God, I have never heard that before. That's actually kind of creepy and gross,
And
but
true.
And true.
also and interesting.
And true.
Wow.
To add to that,
Okay.
when you're young and your teeth are growing, your teeth are on top of your teeth
Yeah, which is
because
weird.
they
yes.
continue to grow. So when you're young and you see your skeleton, you actually have 2 rows of teeth, which I thought was really
That's
weird
true.
when I saw that.
This reminds me of the Office episode that I just finished watching where Dwight was in charge of choosing the benefits for everybody because Michael didn't want to deal with it. Did you watch The Office, Nick?
Not enough to know specifics, but enough to know.
I've binge watched from beginning to end 3 times within the last year and a half.
Okay.
So I really like the show. I was never really an Office person before. So I just watched the episode where Dwight had to choose the benefits and Pam and Jim were making up diseases.
Right.
And Pam was like, oh, the disease where your teeth drip down your throat. And Jim was like, oh, actually that's called like, I'm going to look it up because it's like hydrodental periodontitis or something.
I've never heard of that one.
I'm going to look it up. The Office teeth disease. That's what I'm typing in.
Oh, I think Marcus is looking it up.
It's spontaneous dental hydroplosion.
Wow.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I love it. That's just what made me think of that. Okay, so I was thinking about this last week when we were talking about my Coca-Cola addiction, because how you had mentioned that you had saw the Coca-Cola themed bar cart at HomeSense and how you thought about buying it for me. And I felt like I should talk about that a little bit because obviously my friends know how much I love Coca-Cola stuff.
I'm having mic problems. Sorry.
Are you?
It keeps falling.
Yeah, that was happening to me when I was sitting over there too the other day.
Is the bad
if you
spot.
watch the video, if you watch us on YouTube, you'll notice throughout the whole podcast, my mic just starts falling slowly.
That's okay. I'll
But
just
I never
hold it.
notice it. It's fine. We're okay. Now we're having technical difficulties. It's fine.
This is okay. This is fine.
Anyways,
Everything's
so
fine.
I'm a huge Coca-Cola addict in the sense that I used to drink like 4 or 5 cans a day.
Oh.
I don't drink that many anymore, but I do love a nice cold Coke. And I also love Coca-Cola merchandise. So I have a ton of Coca-Cola stuff. And when Jeremy and I used to live in the condo, I put it up above the cabinets in our kitchen because I felt like that was an okay spot to put it. It looks cool. It's kind of kitschy. And where else do you put that kind of stuff? Well, Jeremy doesn't really like my Coca-Cola stuff, so I've been told that I have to keep it like in boxes in the garage.
Interesting.
Because he's like, it's kind of tacky, which yes, it is.
That's
But
the point.
I know.
Is that not like
and it's cool. It's collectible. So what else are you supposed to do with it?
not keep it in boxes?
I know, but
Yeah.
but I do kind of agree because where do you put things like that? So I'm trying to get I'm trying to get him to do his man cave like Coca-Cola theme.
Well, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I know he's not into it.
Ugh.
I know.
I don't know. Maybe like set it up in your garage.
You know what? The garage is a whole other story.
right.
Oh.
Because we're also not allowed to use the garage for things like parking in.
Right.
Because you don't park in your garage because
No, that would be crazy.
It would be because you could get the floor dirty. So I'm not allowed to park in my garage. So the garage is for storing things, but it depends on the things that we're storing because certain things I want to store in there and he won't let me because he says that it takes up too much room.
So, correct me if I'm
garage is
wrong, but a garage is either for a vehicle or to
Or
store
storing
things
things.
in.
Yeah, I know.
But
No, he won't let
just
me.
specific things?
Jeremy is very specific about what I'm allowed to keep in that garage. I will say that. So I slowly sneak things in there without him knowing. And he won't know now because he hasn't listened to our first 2 episodes of the podcast. So he's not going to listen to this one. And
No.
by the time that he listens to this one, it won't even matter anymore. So I just keep adding things.
I feel like you should just buy a goat and put it in there.
A
And
goat?
just see if he notices.
Where do you buy a goat from, Nick?
Coombs Country Grocer?
I don't think you can just buy a goat.
I mean, you could.
Oh, Gabe's nodding. So obviously she's bought goats from there before.
Do you know from personal experience?
Yeah, are you? Oh, she claims not from there. Okay, but Gabe obviously has the hookup from buying goats. She says you can. All right, well, it's confirmed.
Gabe's your goat girl.
if you need a goat, call Gabe. We will put her Instagram handle on our Instagram. You can contact her for any goat needs. Oh, Gabe has already sent me a link of where to find goats. So, okay, good to know. So if you need goats, go see Gabe.
I knew it was going to be a lot easier than you thought.
I'm actually surprised at how easy that was. I'm not going to lie. But I guess it's like, those statistics where they always say like 1 in 4 people or 1 in 5 people. 1 in 5 people can sell you a goat. Gabe is our 1 in 5.
The whole reason I thought of a goat was because one of my favorite shows is Modern Family.
Love
Right.
it.
Right, and I binge watched that because I wasn't into it for the whole time it was on TV. But then
It's
it
a really,
was on,
it's a very cleverly written
very fun,
show
very
for sure.
showed up, and I relate. Phil Dunphy is my spirit animal. Like he is just, I relate to him so much.
Yeah.
It's not even funny, and he just always wants a llama. So give him a llama, right? Hence, let's find a
It's
llama,
understandable.
i.e. a goat. Because
A goat.
I mean, I know we could find alpacas, but
It's true.
a goat would
Can
be
I also
easier.
say I read the other day that 96% of statistics are made up?
Is that a number that you just made up right now on the spot? Yeah. It's like, so unfortunately, I have a coworker who is quite gullible, and I told her the other day, did you know, for people who are gullible, it's not anything that you can help. Take a breath. Also, they took the word gullible out of the dictionary, and she looked at me with such awe, like, I can't believe they would have done that.
no
What are
way.
we people who are gullible
Oh my gosh.
going to call it now? And then she had that aha moment where she looked like she was going to kill me.
See, that's not gullible. That's just dumb. Sorry.
Well, it's both. I think it's both.
This takes me back to, by the way, we referenced the place that we used to work as the French place.
Right.
So
Oui, oui.
we
I don't know.
all-
Sorry, I don't know if
I
we
will tell
mentioned
you-
this.
Oh, sorry.
That's where
we all
that's
used
how we
to
know
work.
Nick Watts.
That is how we know
all
Nick
used to work
Watts.
together
We
at
all used to
the
work
restaurant.
with each other at the French place at the restaurant. This reminds me of a time when a certain server thought that eggs were dairy. And our chef at the time had to make a public service announcement to say, until further notice, eggs are not dairy.
Can we also mention the white salmon?
Shout out to that specific
The
server.
white salmon.
White salmon.
White
that was
salmon.
terrible. Yeah.
Halibut is not white salmon, just in case anyone was wondering.
My favorite thing I've ever seen rang in on a chit was virgin margarita sub daiquiri. That's my favorite. Just for everyone who doesn't know, the only difference between a margarita and a daiquiri is the alcohol. So having a virgin margarita and a virgin daiquiri, the exact same thing. Frozen ice and puree.
I remember that chit.
Yeah,
I remember that
exactly.
chit like it was yesterday.
Good times. Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever had poke nachos?
Like poke, the Hawaiian ahi poke nachos?
Yeah. Like
No.
like a poke bowl but in nacho form.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's like a tuna stack, like
Yeah.
wonton chips.
Yeah, but it's so the Fireside Girl in Victoria has poke nachos, and I saw this on TikTok yesterday as well. Is somebody making a full plate of nachos, and they were like ahi tuna poke nachos, and I thought that was kind of cool. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I also saw that on TikTok, and it
So
looked very
would
good.
would it be like just the poke mix sprinkled over chips?
I believe
Yeah.
so. Yes.
Okay, so there's no like baked cheese because that kind of takes away from the.
No.
Poke
It's literally just a poke bowl,
Okay.
but in the form of nachos. So it made me think about. So for my birthday, we did a big nacho table. Remember that?
I remember that,
Yes. So we took my entire kitchen island. We spread aluminum foil over the entire thing, and then we made ground beef. We melted cheese, and we put onions and peppers and everything on top, and then poured the ground beef and the melted cheese over top of it. It was delicious, absolutely amazing. And then now it makes me think that would be kind of a cool thing to do with like poke nachos.
I've always thought seafood bakes were like really cool.
I really
like,
want to
Yeah.
do a
just to,
seafood
like
bake.
to do that. Like
Oh
I've
my
been to a
God.
couple.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
This is going to be a random shout out, but it is a local business, but
No,
not
this
to
is
the
good.
Nanaimo.
No, this is good.
Segue into our next
the
section.
Yes.
Sticky Wicket, if you've ever been there, it's the house
Love-
of 5 bars.
Love the sticky wicket.
And once a summer, they actually do a giant seafood bake on the rooftop bar and grill.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
They put down like the old school newspaper, and then they literally come with the whole, everything, which they've steamed. They've all
The
got steamed.
corn
Yeah,
and
the
shrimp.
corn
Do they
and the
do
potato
crab and stuff
crab
too?
and mussels and clams. And just everything's in there, and they literally just come in already and throw it over the table. And they've literally put a plate of like cut lemon in front of you, and it's just
Wow.
here's a bib, go to town.
I'd
And
really like to do something like that.
Yeah, we should
it was a lot
definitely
of
do
fun.
that.
Yeah. We did something kind of like that in Tofino a couple of years ago. It wasn't it wasn't a seafood bake per se, but it was a seafood buffet. Basically, you pay for your ticket and they had a live band, and it was similar, but I've always wanted to do a traditional seafood bake, you know, with the corn and everything, and it's just a free for all, grab whatever.
Yeah, it was because then they allowed you to reload for like an extra $30, and they
that's so
brought like
cool.
basically almost a full other order. But I mean, you get through with that, and you just don't need to. There's no room for beer or anything. You just
So is that your small business shout out? Sticky Wicket?
It'll be one of them. I've always really appreciated the room with 5 bars and the amount of times the club has changed its name because my mom
no kidding.
went to it. I went to it. I'm assuming my niece will go to something that's not the same, and I think
it's been 2 or 3 different things since I've been going there.
Yeah. It definitely changes.
What's it right now?
I think it's still district.
Is it still district? Yeah, because
I
it
think
was
so.
district the last time that I went there.
What was it called when you first turned 19? You went there for the first time.
Yeah, do you remember? Because you're so old. Do you remember?
Okay, easy. I believe it was Club 919.
That was like 30 years ago. Wait, no, it was Club 919 when I first went there. So that's not that long ago.
You could have gone back.
Before that, I can remember going, and I think
it could have gone back.
I think it was called Legends.
Oh God! But Nick also remembers when Old City was called the Jungle.
No, that wasn't Old City.
No, Old City was the press room.
The press room. Sorry,
I worked there for a hot minute, and it was the press room.
That's
and
right.
I worked at Bar 2, which was downstairs, not the second bar, but they called it Bar 2 because it was like a little corner.
Well, like it was a separate thing.
Yeah. Well, so when you would walk in. If I remember, so when you walk into the press room now,
Old City now.
Old City now, you walk through the side doors, and that was always an emergency door.
Really?
There's that weird little ramp that goes down.
Downstairs.
That was the main entrance into the press room.
And that's like a private room now.
And you went in left after you paid your cover. And there was a VIP lounge there. And then you walked past Kochek, which was on the left, and into the swinging doors, and you were there. And on the immediate right, there was a stage. Where the upstairs has always been kind of that balcony, but either side where the stairs come down, there was actually a little platform. And where the bar is now used to be the dance floor.
Oh, wow.
Really? I did not know that.
When I first moved to Nanaimo 19 years ago, I live in Vancouver now, but when I first moved to Nanaimo, it was the first place I had ever gone to a foam party at. And it was
gross. I would never, ever go to a foam party.
Great.
That's just disgusting.
But they used hot foam, so it was great.
Disgusting. That's even worse.
That might be
even
worse.
worse.
No,
I'm sorry. That's even worse. Okay, so what was level 2 called?
Oh, the level 2 didn't exist.
No,
level 2 was the top of the stage because they used to do live music and performances in there too. I once saw Swollen members perform on that stage at the press room.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Again,
That's
making
old.
me very old.
Okay, so what are the other 2 places down there called? I don't even know what they're called anymore. Concept? Is that what it's called?
Concept and
Concept was
Evolve.
Spice before, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was Spice, and then
Evolve was
before,
9, or what was Evolve? Was 241.
241.
Yeah.
Yes.
God,
Spice
I
was
hated that place.
Club Malibu.
Gross.
Wasn't something called the Jungle?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Which was across the street.
Evolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was the Jungle because
Yeah.
the Jungle turned into a strip club for a hot minute.
Yeah, it did.
There was a lot of strip clubs here for a bit.
Shut down.
Yep.
They jumped up Bernie. I don't know if I can use that name.
We can bleep it.
Yeah, we can
But
cut that out.
he was the one who was like, let's make a strip club. And the Jungle became a strip club. Before Club Malibu, it was Desperados. And that's what I remember.
So, fun fact, the strippers at 2 for 1 split their time between 2 for 1 and the Arlington, if anyone knows what that is.
God,
that's from my neck of the woods.
That's a long
The Arlington
drive.
that was on the news?
It's in the news.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were around for the Arlington.
Wasn't that one of the last places that had strippers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I was around for the Arlington. I've never been to the Arlington, but I feel like there were strippers there since I've been able to see. I've never seen strippers, just so everyone knows. I'd like to. I would love to see the strippers. I've just never been.
The weirdest thing is to have a stripper talk to you because you know the stripper on
that's
stage and she's doing her little performance. And then she comes by and is like, oh yeah, make sure to get a beer in my tab and we'll just chat afterwards. Sorry, I've got to go to the other side. And now she's
That's weird.
raking in money.
I feel like
and
we
it's
should move
just
on from strippers.
Okay.
C'est la vie.
How did we get from poke nachos?
Poke nachos to strippers.
Wow.
It's a journey. It's all a journey.
Evolution. See what I did?
Okay, next thing that I would like to go into. So I referenced this on the last 2 episodes about the twins that I follow on TikTok.
I still haven't found them.
Okay. I will send them to you. They're on TLC. I've never watched the show, but they're on TLC. I don't even know what the show's called.
Like the channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
Oh, are these the twins that share a boyfriend?
Yes.
Yes, you sent me that video.
They're twins that share a boyfriend. So
lucky guy. Easy
last
for
week,
him.
oh no. So I just saw one. I just saw one the other day where they're now trying to get pregnant. So they're ovulating at the same time, and
as one does,
as one does when you're a twin, and they're very excited about getting pregnant. But like, the whole process, wrapping your brain around that. So now your kids are siblings and cousins.
Yeah, they're genetically going to be siblings, because if you are an identical twin and you have a baby with the same guy, that's got you got the same DNA.
Isn't that weird? The whole thing is just bizarre. Like
if I remember correctly, siblings are closer to each other than they are to parents. Because you're made of the same genetic material, but with your parents, it's one half. So
right, that makes sense.
Identical twins have the same DNA.
Yeah. So the whole thing is just so strange. I mean, whatever. To each their own.
I do have a lot of comments. I'm going to keep them all to myself.
That's very wise.
Probably for the best.
Okay,
Gabe
2 more
knows.
things.
I know Gabe knows.
Of things that I learned on TikTok.
Okay.
First thing, have you seen the buttons that teach dogs to talk?
Yes.
Would you ever do that with your dog? I don't know if your dog would be able to do that.
My dog's not smart enough.
I feel like your dog is just too spastic for that.
He has too much energy, and 100%. He doesn't have the focus. I think he has ADHD.
I agree with
or something.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and my dog's just not smart enough for that. Like,
dog is very smart.
Sadie.
Oh, your dad?
Yeah, no, my mom has.
Oh, okay.
Because I couldn't have her in Vancouver. Sadie was a rescue from a
What kind of dog?
farm. She's a black lab.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's 3.5 years, and she isn't very smart. So I don't think she could.
Sorry, no offense to people who have labs, but labs are kind of notoriously dumb.
I don't know much about dog breeds. So Gabe, though, has
so great.
Bernese.
Love them.
Bernese
Mountain Dog.
Bernese. Would you ever use the buttons to teach have you seen that, where they teach the dog to talk?
He's very good at learning.
Good at learning.
Yes.
Okay. So I think Charlie could do it, honestly.
I think he could. I just don't want to put in the time.
That's it. I will say, watching these videos of people that do it, they start with a couple of buttons, and then some of these people have 100 buttons, and you'd assume that that's quite the process to go through to teach your dog to do that.
Yeah.
He's very smart when he wants to be.
Yeah, that's like most dogs are. I would say they just want to learn when they want to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes to puppy school.
It's kind of creepy, though.
Okay, Gabe's saying Charlie failed puppy school. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like if your dog failed puppy school, then they just can't learn the buttons.
He just didn't feel like learning.
Right. Yeah, okay. Doesn't feel like learning sounds like most of
Kind of
us,
sounds
honestly.
like Gabe in high school.
Oh, what a surprise. That dog would be the same way.
You did. Yeah, you did. You were good.
Okay.
Right.
Fair.
Charlie's a good boy.
So, third thing that I learned on TikTok was to keep a fire extinguisher in your bedroom.
Okay.
Because this is another like statistic thing. I'm not going to tell you the statistic because I don't remember what it was, but most fires that you're home for tend to happen while you're sleeping. And so you think about if you were to wake up and your house is on fire, most people don't have a fire extinguisher readily available. I keep mine in my kitchen, because you think that that's where most of the fires are going to happen, is when you're in the kitchen. But then I kind of thought about it, and I never really realized that, what would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night and your house was on fire? So keeping an extinguisher. Me too. But
isn't it mostly candles and like hair
Electrical?
electrical things, like candles and like hair straighteners and blow dryers
that cause house fires?
Yeah. Isn't it
I
little
don't
things
know.
like that?
And dryers, like washer dryers.
Washer and dryers, that's true. But see, a lot of people though turn the dryer on while they're sleeping.
That's true.
So you never know.
That's true.
Really.
I turned the dryer on before I left my house to come to the island.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
so
hopefully your house isn't on fire right now.
Your house is okay.
I have good insurance.
Realistically, though, I never really thought about it that way, that it's probably not a bad idea to have a fire extinguisher in your bedroom for that reason. Because if you think about it, I mean, I know with my bedroom. We have 2 windows that are second floor windows. So getting out of them would be difficult, where if I had a fire extinguisher, at least I could maybe get down the hall. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you remember, sorry to interject here, the Ron McDonald house when they had you crawl through the house?
Yeah.
That's what I think of right away, right?
My parents were firefighters, so we had that.
That's cool.
They came to our school.
Whose parents were firefighters?
Mine.
Really?
Yeah. My
I
mom and
didn't
dad.
know that.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
That is a fun alley fact.
I did not
Fun
know that your
fact.
parents were firefighters. I
Yes.
had no idea. For
My
how
da-
long?
My dad was a firefighter for probably like 35 years or something.
Really?
He's old.
That like actually blows my mind.
Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
And my mom, I don't want to get it wrong and insult her, so I'm going to say
She was a
between
firefighter.
5 to 10 years spread out before and after I was born.
Like,
so
was she actually in the field firefighter, or
Yeah.
was she? That's cool. That's
Wow.
really cool.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I did not know that.
That
I love how
respects your
Cher's
mom.
talking about fire safety, and then Allie's just like, "Oh yeah, well my parents
Actually-
know all about fire safety."
we should have my parents on.
We
to talk about fire
should. We
safety.
actually should. I'm not like I'm
Awesome.
like I'm serious because I did not know that, and that's actually really interesting, and it would be beneficial to our listeners.
Yeah.
So
but what else that you should get? You can get like a rope ladder.
Yeah,
so in
I've
case
thought
you need
about
to
that.
climb out of your window.
yeah, well, everyone knows you make a ladder out of sheets and stuff, but it wouldn't be a bad idea
No.
to have
What-
something
that
like
would
that.
be so scary.
What are you going to attach it to in your bedroom?
I have no idea. I'm like, I get so weird about stuff like this because my brain just starts going, and then I think of all the possibilities of things that could happen. So when I was in high school, I used to hoard granola bars in my room because I was afraid of earthquakes. So I was so afraid that there was going to be an earthquake and that I would be trapped, and I needed granola bars to deal with that. So I actually got to a point where I was considering seeing a therapist about this because I was so concerned about earthquakes.
And granola bar addictions.
Yeah, actually, I'll show you my pantry when we go to my house.
Granola
I have
bar
like
hoarding.
boxes and boxes because you get points. You get like 2,000 points every time you buy
We
4
know.
boxes of granola bars. So I have a lot of them.
If I remember correctly from last week's podcast, you have to buy them in blocks.
Yes. Yeah.
Or you end up like Allie and only have like 1,800.
Exactly. So then
See,
this
I'm
is what I
watching.
do. The other day I was thinking, okay, Cher, you have a lot of granola bars. You should probably do something about this. And I thought I could donate them. Okay, sure. That's a really nice thing to do. Donate them to the food bank. That's my charity shout out is
Why don't you donate to the office?
Oh, okay. So
Marcus
That's
is
an
hungry.
idea.
and he wants
actually,
granola bars.
instead of donating them to the loaves and fishes, I will donate some of them to the office.
We're not.
Anyways, I was
we're not gonna do
thinking
it.
about it and I thought I should donate some of these. And then I thought, well, what if there's an earthquake and we really need these and I need to like live on these for a long time?
And that's the spiral, folks.
This is what happens. Yeah.
Down the rabbit hole of granola bars
Absolutely.
and earthquakes.
Maybe you
You
should go
never
see a
know.
therapist.
I know. Well,
I mean,
it's
never a bad idea to see
okay,
a therapist.
but an earthquake could happen. I'm sorry, we live in like one of the major places in the world where it easily could happen, and a really bad one. So sorry for hoarding granola bars.
Why don't you just, every time they get close to the expiration date, donate them, get new ones, get more points?
That's a really good idea,
Yeah.
Gabe. I like this. So it's
Gabe's
a
a
constant
genius.
cycle. I would just like everyone to know that I just got a text. It's an RBC alert that they've detected unusual transactions on my card.
Oh, good.
So I need to secure my account by clicking on this link. Do you think I should do that?
Oh, definitely, for sure, without a doubt.
Absolutely, I should. Let's click on it. I'm not
Don't
going to.
click on
I
that,
will
don't.
not.
Don't.
I swear.
PSA, don't click on that.
PSA, do not click on
No.
links. Okay, so this leads me to my next thing I wanted to talk about. I heard on the radio this morning that there's a jewelry scam going on in Vancouver.
Okay.
And that there was a white SUV with a man and a woman in it. And they had approached a man about buying jewelry. And he thought it was weird, so he decided not to do it. So then another guy comes along and buys a whole bunch of this jewelry, which is obviously fake. And they get scammed out of thousands of dollars. How is this still a thing? How? It's 2021, people. Who buys jewelry out of a random SUV on the side of the road?
It might be a good deal.
When you need a Rolex.
Come on. I'm sorry, but like, how do you not think, how do you think that that's legitimate?
I mean, to be fair,
Really?
scams happen in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
Some people are just, to circle back, more gullible than others.
Wow.
Right? Like it happens. I mean, think about all the current CRA scams that are happening
my God.
right
That's
now.
true, and
right?
I feel
mean,
really bad for a lot of people who do get fooled by those kinds of things because they are they seem very legitimate.
Well, and they have to have a sign up by the gift cards saying if people are asking for gift cards over the phone, don't do it.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, isn't that sad? And it's unfortunate though that there's people out there that take advantage of other people with things like that.
Oh, I get scammed on a weekly basis, I would say. Well, I don't get scammed. I don't fall for it.
Yeah.
Because
But you get stuff sent to you.
I'm a realtor and
Your phone number
my
is
phone number is
public.
basically public knowledge. I'll get a text almost once a week saying that it's my managing broker. Shout out to Peter Fan. And he needs me immediately to go and buy gift cards. And please text him the
Really?
codes. Yeah. Weekly
Wow,
basis.
isn't that so
And
interesting?
obviously some people are falling for this, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing
do that
it.
for work too.
Yeah.
I used to work at a specific retail store that sells
Gift
gift
cards.
cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people have come in saying my boss needs me to buy these gift
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
And we were not gonna sell that to him.
No.
Yeah.
And he got really pissed off with us because he's like, oh, I'm gonna lose my job over this. And then we
Wow.
made him call his boss.
Boss, yeah.
And guess what? His boss did not actually want to get gift cards.
Yeah.
And it's really, really sad because a lot of people are of the older kind.
And they
Yeah.
don't
that get
understand
scammed.
that.
And there was this really, really sad story that there was a lady that came in and they told her that her grandson was in jail.
That's a very
and
common one.
She
Yes.
needed to buy like $2,000 worth of in gift cards. And good thing our store manager was there because he had to pull her to the back and be
explain.
like, listen, like call him. He's
Yeah.
like, he's probably fine.
Yeah.
And it was so sad. 'Cause
This
she was
would
like
never be a
crying.
thing.
She was like, they're hysterical because
Yeah.
they don't understand how this stuff
Yeah.
works. It's very, very sad.
And I'm sorry, but if your grandson's in jail, he doesn't need gift cards.
Well, exactly.
That's just not a thing.
So we were talking about this a few months ago because I think I was talking about this with my uncle about how you wonder though if these people that are scamming and doing these things, if they know that that's what they're doing. Or like, for instance, like there was a huge Microsoft scam for a while where, I want you to go into your computer and download this and do this and do this. So we were talking about how we wonder if those people are hired by a company, like unfortunately in places like in second and third world countries where they think that they are being hired by a company to do something good for people and they don't recognize that what they're doing is actually scamming somebody.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
you have to think that means that there's a lot of people out there who scam people every day and know that they're doing that. You know? So maybe there's a lot of these people that don't recognize that that's actually what's happening.
You know what you should watch? There is a YouTube channel, and I do not know the name of off the top of my head.
We'll post
but
about it.
What he does is that he literally gets, because they're big companies that seem legit, that all they do is scam.
Yeah.
And it's mostly, I hate to say it, but it's mostly in India. So what ends up happening is that what they do is that this guy literally knows and is aware of these companies, and he starts actually hacking into the companies, and he sees their webcams.
Yeah.
And then he says, oh, you're wearing this shirt, you're having this guy sitting right beside you, and they get so spooked out because nobody else actually knows how to do that. And what ends up happening is that they're big actual companies that end up doing this stuff.
Oh my God.
And it's kind of crazy that this one guy from YouTube can actually hack into these companies that like
That's just
that
insane.
do this
It's
stuff.
just scary to think about
It
like
is.
It really
things like
is.
that. Sharon had to go, but I think because there's two of us, we can continue.
We will continue.
Of
yes.
course. By all means. Is there anything you want to talk about? Free reign, carte blanche, without Sharon, who is now entering the room again?
Never mind.
All right.
Are you talking
Like he said
about
last
just
week,
pinning.
active office.
That's right. It is a very active office.
Were you talking about me?
Well,
No.
we were going to talk about you without you here
Oh.
in a polite way, but
On the podcast that I'm eventually going to listen to after we film the podcast.
do you put that
Doesn't
past
really
me?
seem very
It
smart.
Sounds like something that Ali and I could have shared.
Okay. Anyways, it is a very active office. It's 5:30 still, so some of the guys are still coming back from site and everything. So it's just the way it is.
I
Anyways,
just think that's really cool because it adds a realism to the whole thing, right?
Oh,
'Cause
absolutely,
You're
it
doing
does.
this in real time, and you can see like where we're at and everything. So
Well, last week we had to take 2 breaks because of the guys coming back, right? So it just kind of is what it is. I mean, our phones stopped ringing at 4:30, which is nice. And for the most part, we don't have customers coming after that time either. So that's kind of why we chose this time of the day to do this kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's the construction industry. It's just really any industry. You just never really know what can happen, right? So it is what it is. Okay, I wanted to start something based on some of the responses that we got on Instagram this week, because I had asked people, what would you like us to talk about? What are some topics that you find interesting? And one of the things that came up was just asking why we started the podcast, which also then leads into why we chose our careers. What do we like about our careers? Why do we do that? So I think my point of view of why we started the podcast was really just to raise awareness, I think, for our brands. With Ali being a realtor, her brand herself is really important. So just having a medium to be able to talk about you and what you do and what you know, and trying to help people in that sense. And hopefully now when they hear your name, they think of wanting to use you. And I'll kind of branch into that a little bit.
Goal.
Exactly. And then I think same for us, obviously, is having a small business within the community, wanting to talk more about who we are and what we do, so that hopefully when you think about your next project or you need something, then you think of us. So, what are your kind of thoughts on that, Ali?
Okay, well, first of all, I think like every group of girlfriends have always said like,
Oh, we can have a podcast.
Oh my God, we can have a podcast. So like, yeah, that
We can talk about
obviously-
anything.
Yeah, that was us. I mean, like,
True.
we talk all the time, and we totally had that conversation, of course.
Yeah.
But I think both of us being like in business, it's a good way to kind of showcase what we do
And who we are.
and kind of bring awareness to that, like you said. But
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think that you're right. Obviously, it's hard to find something that's relevant that people want to listen to. And so that's kind of why I put that out there this week, was what are some interesting topics that you would like to learn more about or that you like to listen to. We had a girl comment, and I'm actually going to look up her name because I don't want to get it right, because I believe it's Bee's Knees something candles. I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
But she had commented and she said, I absolutely...
Gabe says she knows her.
Oh, okay. So Gabe knows her. So, Gabe's suddenly feeling like she doesn't. Okay. So I'm just
We need to
look
cut
her
that
up. Bee's Knees. Oh, the Bee's Knees Natural Products. Her name is
Okay.
Jess. So she commented on one of our posts and said, I love listening to your podcast. Thank you for having something to listen to. My work is always so quiet and I want to have something that I can listen to that's funny and interesting, which I thought was so cool. And it just makes me feel like, okay, we're reaching people. We're talking about something that people find interesting. That's awesome. How else can we do that? And I think we'd always kind of talked about just a way to reach out to people.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I like the fact that we don't just talk about business, because we have like something for everybody. We're going to talk about everything.
I was going to say, as somebody who has watched both episodes from the outside, and full disclosure, I've known both of these ladies for a very, very long time. Jokes aside, it was very professional to hear that, and for them to be so passionate about what they're doing. Ali is an excellent realtor, and Cher is
you.
excellent at what she does around the business here, and she's really grown this brand. I just think to hear from ladies who are successful at what they do, to have a platform like they have, and to hear that every other lady that is doing what they're doing also talks about the Real Housewives, which I had no idea there were so many branches.
Oh my God.
There's like 15, 20 of
I don't
them.
know.
To
There's so
talk
many.
about shower thoughts that became driving thoughts, that is now, I believe,
Blow dryer thoughts.
because
Yeah.
no, you should not be thinking about these thoughts and writing them down while you're driving.
No.
I just think those,
Or while you're blow drying.
those little things, and the local business shout outs is great, because I think local businesses don't get enough talk,
Yeah.
specifically in the pandemic that we're currently in and facing and getting over, thankfully, because I'm in one of the industries that is hard hit. But
Yeah.
I just think where you're both coming from, you have a platform that you can maybe speak to people who wouldn't normally know where to go.
Yeah.
And you can have those kind of, I believe the first segment called it market updates,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it made me kind of care about both of those things. Oh, well, I understand where this market's going in Nanaimo. I understand what this side of the business is construction wise. And, some people might not be into that. And it makes it ability. So ladies, I just, bravo. I was
thank you. I appreciate that.
Happily,
Thank you, Nick.
yes,
Yeah.
to come in and just know that as I'm a fan as much as we're friends and all of that jazz. We've been longer than 10 years now.
Yeah.
We're
I
getting
just think,
thumbs up from Gabe.
I just think, it's one of those things that you can commend when you have something that is good, but it's also funny and likable to watch, and both of
It
you
keeps
are
it interesting.
right? And both of you play off of each other very, very well. And it's just a fun, lighthearted podcast that still gets across what you are both hoping, I think, trying to do.
Exactly.
At the same time, I get to learn about the Marvel U.
Well, I would like to expand on that, I think, because so we have real estate industry, construction industry, and the food and beverage hospitality industry. 3 different industries that have all been hit in very different ways throughout the pandemic. So I do think that we should maybe touch on that a little bit, each of us, because we all kind of have a little bit of a different perspective on those kinds of things. So Nick, can you just talk a little bit more about your perspective?
Okay.
Oh, also, sorry, I'm going
That's
to bring
okay.
in the Toastmasters stoplight. You only get 5 minutes. Go.
Only 5 minutes. So just very quickly about me, my name is Nicholas. I work in the industry, the food and beverage industry, if you will.
This is why we're giving you only 5 minutes.
There's not a lot of and ands, though. We'll go with that.
Or likes or so's.
Likes or whatever. And there's an The industry, my industry was quite hit hard, and I'm feeling it right now because Bricks and Mortar in Yaletown is established. It's been there for 20 years.
That's where Nick works, by the way.
I work at Bricks and Mortar in Yaletown, locally owned
Shout
business.
out.
Shout out.
They're amazing, by the way. I'm sorry, but if you've never been to Bricks and Mortar in Vancouver, you have to go. The food's amazing. The service is incredible. There's multiple different dining spaces. They're all different. Have you been to Bricks and Mortar?
Not yet. It's on my list.
It's incredible. I've been there multiple times. It's absolutely fantastic. Love.
The
Go.
courtyard, make reservations.
The courtyard's incredible.
I've seen pictures. It looks
Oh
gorgeous.
my God, it's spectacular.
So
It was. It was on TV. That's true.
Love Gabe's little comments
What
over
was it
here
on
because I get to hear them.
It was on Riverdale. No, it wasn't.
We were
I don't know.
There's a bunch of movies. Motherland, I think, filmed a few times.
P.S.
with us.
I Love You.
No,
To All the Boys I've Loved.
Boys I've loved.
Right.
Filmed there. There's been a bunch of
P.S.
others.
I Love
Yes,
You.
I Love You. I think came out when I was like 25. So, say the V. So my industry,
Sorry.
the restaurant industry, was hit really hard during the pandemic. One, if you could stay open, you were with a skeleton crew.
Right.
When you came back, people didn't want to come back. And I think right now we're in a bit of a flux because Vancouver proper, I'm speaking as Vancouver because that's what I know, but I know a few other places, Victoria and Nanaimo, where it's also been hit. The sheer amount of people who don't want to go back to the uncertainty that was the food and beverage, and both of you ladies can attest, you have good nights, you have bad nights.
Oh, yeah.
If you have more bad nights than good nights,
It's not worth
you
it.
need to start thinking about, do I need to get a second job?
Yeah.
And that's 1 to 2 weeks in. Like 99% of, again, fake stats. I feel like it's 99% of servers live paycheck to paycheck. And by that, I mean,
I'd say it's probably 100% of servers.
server broke for me is if you have less than $200 in your wallet because you can go in and make tips. And
Right.
and you just hear these things, server broke or
Oh yeah, it'll be fine.
right?
I'll make my rent
Yeah,
by
I'll
the
go
time
to-
it comes around.
I just won't go drinking for 3 days. I won't go
I'll
to
be
the
fine.
party. I won't go to the club 3 nights with the girls. Like it's just those things
Yeah.
that add up. And then you just realize now you're scrambling and you don't have a safety net. So I think
Yeah.
the combination of one, the inability to actually have employment, and then two, coming back to, well, is it going to be worth the same amount of money? Because I make a very good living as a server, as a bartender, mostly as a restaurant manager. That's something that I've done for the last little while with Original Joe's, amongst other places.
French
Cut that.
place.
Earls,
The French
Bricks,
place, yes.
Craft Beer Market, amongst other places. I have moved into the management side of things and have always done quite well for myself. But the uncertainty has caused this weird rift. In Vancouver, you're seeing people aren't coming back because they've moved either back in
Yeah.
with their parents or they've moved out of town because you can't afford to pay $3,000 for a 2-bedroom in Yaletown anymore.
Yeah, I think that's happening here too, where the restaurants are starting to experience that, where they're going through incredible turnover a lot faster than they've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And you can't with the uncertainty, right? Like, I mean, for me, I have enrolled back in UBC thinking, I don't know that I want this to be the rest of my life.
Right.
And that's scary to think of.
I think, and you're not the only person that's thought that in that industry.
Done this for 24 years and always known I had a job to go back to, I could just pick something up. If I decided to leave one place, next place would hire me because of my experience in another role. And now it's like, is that something I want to keep doing?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's understandable. But how do you feel like, so now that the restrictions are starting to lift a little bit, have you guys seen a change? Like since the last lift at the end of May, have you seen an increase in sales, an increase in people going out?
I have been fortunate that I work in a restaurant that had technically 2 outdoor patios, which gave us 1 full floor.
And you adapted to doing takeout and those kinds of things.
Takeout, all of those different things were things that we were able to quickly switch to. But our ability to have 20 tables when most restaurants only had 5
or none,
and had to shut down. That was something that for us floated us a little bit. Now we're at a point where restrictions lifted the first time and people are coming out in droves because they've also now, I'm scared to see the restrictions that have been lifted when you're now allowed to travel between and you don't need your health authorities.
Well,
right
now that's as of yesterday.
And midnight. So for us to have tables, like we the luxury of saying, you know what, we close at 10. Bonnie says we have to have everybody out at 11. That's now
you don't have that anymore.
And now we might have tables staying in and drinking until midnight. And it becomes one of those things, well, now we're going to have more of an influx.
Yeah.
And so we are already, luckily enough, not to pat my own back or anything, my restaurant specifically is doing really good numbers, not pre-COVID numbers, but we're doing really good numbers. I just think in that 2-week period, and there's been so many things, so many restrictions, so many rules that have been on the fly where you find out 12 hours. How are you supposed to staff the switch? How are you supposed to bring in product for the switch? The liquor, because a liquor order usually takes, people who've done them anywhere from 3 to 5 days. It doesn't, I can't just go to a liquor store and buy booze. I'm not, the provinces, I'm not allowed to do that. So, how do you, bring in the people and the product, we order.
And prepare for that because it's so unpredictable.
We have chefs that have been, are living in different provinces that are like, do you come back or do I just stay because I'm making my way through this? And when we're back into the normalcy of post-pandemic, whatever that looks like, phone me then. And so there's been trials and tribulations, obviously. I mean, I really enjoy my industry. I have been in it for 24 years now and I've seen some crazy things. And this, I think, has been the most challenging time in all of that because we still haven't had a real recovery phase. The government is putting all these checks and balances in, but I don't think they realize just how hard servers specifically.
Well, and just the industry. I mean, there's already such little and limited margin in this kind of industry in general. So then you add all of this on top of it and it just makes all of those challenges even worse. So even successful restaurants still have those challenges. So then it just escalates the entire thing and just exaggerates it all.
Sorry, that sounded a lot of doom and gloom, but that's
it's a reality.
It's the reality of where I'm at. I mean, just a very quick stat. I believe we did 165 weddings in bricks and mortar in 2019 before we closed down.
Oh, right, sorry.
Which was one of the best years we had ever done for weddings.
Yeah.
The 2020 year, we should have done 211 or 2/3 of the calendar year, give or take. I think it's about 2/3 was booked for a wedding. Mm-hmm. And then 2020 March happened and we lost basically all of them. Like just there it goes. Like you just can't have it. And when you bank on one thing, like Bricks, the wedding is incredible. Like it's one of the best wedding venues in Vancouver, hands down. I would say top 3, and that's even like
I've seen pictures of it and it looks fantastic.
Even above the
because you get married
gardens.
in where the outdoor patio is between the two buildings, and there's lights all strung up above. It's incredible. Yeah,
it's something out of a movie, and it's out of some movies.
Wow.
But
have you guys rebooked weddings now at all going forward?
I believe we're starting to. The grouping, the way it works is right now we're not allowed to have more than 50 outdoor.
Right.
And then 50 indoor for indoor dining with proper protocols in place.
Right.
So our upstairs works because the outdoor patio is an outdoor courtyard, and then we have spacing. It makes it difficult because you ideally want to have more than 50.
Yes.
In a space that nice on a Friday night. But I mean, we are fortunate enough to be making it through. My owners have done everything in their power, one, to make sure that we are surviving, but that they are also taken care of. Like I just wouldn't have made it through the last year without, I'm going to shout out Pat and Dave.
Yes, that's awesome.
Pat and Dave, the two owners who are my bosses in essence, allowed me to survive through this pandemic. The entire staff through this pandemic because of their sacrifices and what they've had to give up. And I should say Jen too, and Jamie, the management team at Bricks, Ryan Dumont, who was one of my roommates, but he's also the bar manager. This team came together and we all made sacrifices to make sure that we still had a restaurant, because 21 years is a long time in Vancouver to have a successful restaurant.
I didn't know that they've been around for that long.
Yeah, 21 years. And now they're I think we're going to be coming out the other end, when I know that there are a lot of restaurants that haven't. Like the amount of places that I like to go in Vancouver, Cher knows, you might know, I do like hole in the walls. I like,
Nick's always at a different place every night.
It's because it's been a lot of mainstream in my life, and I like, the pubs that maybe haven't had a carpet changed in 20 years, or the staff is the same as it was in the 1980s. There's a few places I can think off the top of my head. I'm not going to name names, but I can think of a few places, but those are the places I do like to go, and a lot of them haven't made it. The great Asian restaurants, I think of a different bunch of the pho or the pho, however you'd like to say it, a bunch of the different pho restaurants that I know. Two are the ones that I would take a date to, maybe for a second date, because the restaurant was questionable, but the food was phenomenal.
Been there.
Right? They're gone. Like one of my favorite places is gone.
Which is so unfortunate.
It's just like the nature of the fine line of the business.
But then on the opposite spectrum, the market is nuts when it comes to actual real estate and purchasing of things. It's such a weird balance, you know?
Yeah, it seems like somebody was saying the other day, I was listening to a podcast, and it's like every single industry has been affected by COVID, and some have increased huge exponentially, and some have just gone the other way and just died. So
that's kind of
everybody's been affected by it in some way.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ali, maybe talk a little bit about kind of like why you became a realtor, how it's been for you thus far, obviously pre-COVID and during COVID, and maybe kind of what you foresee that being for you going forward.
Okay. So yeah, I started thinking about what I wanted to do for my career, because I did a long career in the restaurant industry, and like Nick said, it's not always stable, it's not always reliable, you don't know if you're going to make money, and I just felt like I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life.
I don't think you could do a job like that for the rest of your life either. I honestly think it's hard on your body, it's hard on your mind.
But I mean, I know lots of people that have done it forever, and they retire as a server, and good for them. Like, kudos to you. It wasn't for me, so I wanted to get into something else, and I had a really hard time deciding on what I wanted to do. But ultimately, like, real estate is, I mean, it was always a thought for me, because, like, this sounds kind of stupid, but like, I love houses. I mean, I went golfing on Monday in Qualicum, and I literally said to my boyfriend, like, oh my God, I've always loved this house. And I just like, they're like houses along the golf course. I'm like, I love this house. I've always looked at it every time I've come here.
Yeah.
Like, that's just me. I'm
like that too.
I love it. I love interior design. I love everything to do with that. And I just really wanted to be able to help people. And that's always been like a pillar of my business, is helping people. I'm not just in it to make a quick buck. I'm not just, I really want to educate buyers and make sure that they're making the right decision for them, and really taking it really seriously, because I take it really seriously. So, whether it's selling your house, you're downsizing, or you want to upgrade, you want to find your forever family home, like, I just want to help people be comfortable and
make the right decision
for them, place for them financially and what have you. So, I just want to help people. That's really what it is. And it's a process, and it takes a lot of education on everybody's part. to find the right place.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine. I mean, I don't know fully what your schooling was like, but I can imagine there's a lot to it. There's a lot of legal things, but you're not allowed to say certain things, and you have a certain onus that you have to do.
I have heard that the realtor exam is one of the hardest exams you take.
I've heard that.
It's very
right
difficult.
up there with like
Lawyer
your LSATs and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't seen the lawyer exam, of course, but so I don't think it's like quite at that level, but it was difficult, and there's a lot of stuff involved with the exams in particular that you'll never use.
Yeah.
Like there's a big math portion, and I've never used math in my actual career.
Really? I didn't know that there was a lot of math involved
tons
with
of
it.
math, but I think it's just to make sure that you can actually put in the work and learn it. But like, I'm not calculating somebody's mortgage. I'm never going to do that.
So they go to a mortgage broker for that.
I spent quite a lot of time working on mortgage calculations and tons of math.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you need to know all about real estate law, but you can never give legal advice. So,
Yeah. So there's kind of a lot of like due diligence that you have to know, but at the same time, you can't actually advise on certain things. And
so I can provide with facts. I cannot give legal advice, which is very difficult for me, and it's difficult for my clients sometimes.
Because you want to feel that you're confident, you want to be ethical, so you have to follow a certain line, obviously.
And I'm from the service industry, so I want to help people. I want to do whatever I can to help you, but to give you the facts and then be like, hey, you should probably just contact your lawyer. That's not really I feel like I should do more, but I can't.
Yeah.
I'm only here because the NFL requires me to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's understandable. I'll say, obviously, we used you as our realtor, and it was a fantastic process. So I recommend you to anybody that I know that is looking to buy a house. But and I've told you that before, that I think it's hard sometimes when you're working with friends, because your friends are always like, not a big deal. They don't take it as seriously.
Yeah.
But I will say you were incredibly professional.
Thank you.
You took it very seriously. You helped us through the entire process. You gave us your advice, but you were very straightforward on things, or, I don't quite know, I'm going to find out, which was great.
Yeah. And I don't ever claim to know everything. So I can only tell you what I do know.
Yeah.
So,
which is understandable.
So you've asked both of us, where and how has your industry got to, being I'm a construction and log structures and things like that. Kind of, I don't want to say that it's almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a luxury to have, but it is something that you would add on, right? I would seem that in the middle of all of this, it wouldn't be something that,
You'd assume that.
And again, that's one of those things that, as I know my mom owns her house and my dad owns his place. It's just one of those things that it's not the first thing that I would think of through a pandemic, but I feel like, looking around, and it's not like you're still here on the other side.
The pandemic was actually a huge push for us. So I was actually just writing kind of a whole synopsis about this today. We incorporated in January.
By the way.
Synopsis. Synopsis.
Oh, that's a thumbs up for me.
Oh, great. Thanks. So our product used to be brought in by Gordon's Homes, which is a modular home company. Excellence in Construction purchased Gordon's a couple of years ago, and Gordon's had been bringing in this product just as a complimentary to selling a modular home. You buy a house, we'll throw in a shed. It's a really great way to close the deal. When Excellence purchased it, and I was brought onto the company, we noticed that it was a really great niche product that didn't really have a whole lot of, effort, marketing, money, anything put into it. And we thought that it would be a great niche product. So we incorporated as a company in January of 2020. We did the BC Home and Garden Show in February, which you remember because you came and helped us with a lot of that. So at the end of February, we did the BC Home and Garden Show. We talked to 50,000 people throughout that entire weekend at BC Place. And then 2 weeks later, we're in a pandemic. So I work from home. The whole office shuts down. And I kind of think, oh God, where is this going? Who knows what's going to happen? Am I getting laid off? What's the deal? I brought my phone, my desk phone home, and the phone was still ringing every day and people were still interested. And so I think what started to happen was, and I've talked about this a little bit before, is that our demographic is people that are retired, they have property, they have disposable income, they're not traveling anymore, they're working from home, they're renovating their house, they need more space, whatever. They have that money now to do those things. Those projects maybe that they've been putting aside for 5 years, they can finally start to focus on it. Their house is too small, they want their kids to come stay with them, their kids have moved back in with them, whatever. The market's going crazy, they don't want to buy something and sell their house, so they need to find another solution. So for us, for the first year, it was fantastic. We were still selling a lot. We did $400K in our first year, which was fantastic. Then we get into this year. So our fiscal year started in September 1st of 2020. By March of 2021, we had already sold more than we sold all of last year. So we're only, 6 months into it. And we had already sold more than we sold last year. And I think what started to happen was you're now at a spot where people are like, okay, we're getting into a second year of this. I'm really not going on vacation. I really need to renovate my house. I can't build anything. The wood and lumber prices are insane. Insane.
Yeah.
So now I need to find a solution. So we sold through all of our product. By the first week of May, we were completely sold out, and we're now reserving containers before they've even left Europe or have actually been made in the factory in Europe. So just to give you an idea, last year we sold 45 units. This year we're already at 271 units.
Wow.
And we still have 2 more months to go.
Wow.
We are at 1.5 million in sales. So that's like a 400 or 500% increase.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. But so now what we're finding is the pandemic is starting to finally catch up to us specifically. So because we order and bring in a lot of our product from Europe, we are now finding there's huge challenges with production. A lot of our factories purchase from, they own forests throughout Europe, and they purchase from those forests. They can't get the lumber that they need anymore to manufacture our units. So we have specific thicknesses of wood, for instance. They can't buy that wood anymore. So they can't make those units anymore. So now they say, okay, well, it's going to be pushed to, we can't make those until March. Now we can't make them until June. Now not until August. Now not until October. So we've pre-sold all this product. And we keep getting a different timeline all the time on when they're going to come, which is very difficult as a business.
Oh, totally.
It's so unpredictable. It's very uncertain, and then there's the challenges of, okay, now our product's ready. There's no shipping containers because there's a huge shortage. There's no room on container ships. All of June is booked leaving Europe. So now we got to wait till July. Well, we used to bring them into Montreal and then rail them to Vancouver. Well, Montreal's too busy now. They don't have any room for more ships. So now they have to send them through the Panama Canal. Well, that adds another 2 or 3 months to your shipment time.
Oh my God.
Yes. Or then you do things like, for instance, we used to pay around 5,000 euros to bring in a container. Now it's 30,000 Canadian to bring in a container.
My God.
So things have tripled. And of course, we've already pre-sold everything, so we didn't account for that shipping cost. So it's these constant struggles now that we're trying to deal with, and all of these things that you just never even thought would be a thing. And I think I was really naive that the whole first year of the pandemic, it didn't really affect us. And now we're starting to see the tail end of things. And I actually, Marcus sent me this video the other day about why there's a bit of a strain on the lumber price, for instance. A, there's a lot of sawmills that have closed throughout North America. But B, it's a lot of construction industries thought, okay, well, I'm not going to build this house now. I'm going to wait until things go down. Okay, well, I'm going to wait a little bit longer until things go down. Now I'm getting pressured. I have to build this house. So now the demand is insane, and everyone's thinking that. So now it just drives the prices up. And that's obviously not the only reason why, but it's collectively, as the construction industry as a whole, we're so busy, and yet we can't get anything, and prices are insane. My dad's wife was telling me the other day that she was quoted by a carpenter in Courtney to do a carriage home. It used to be $250 a square foot, and she's like, you may as well go for at least $400 a square foot.
Wow.
Because
that's incredible.
yeah. So she's like, okay, so 1,000 square foot carriage home is going to cost me $400,000. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's been very interesting. I will say that, coming from the restaurant background, I'm not used to things like this. I'm used to things that for the most part I can control, I can maintain.
Totally.
There's a lot of things that I can look at and go, okay, those are easily fixable things. This is a completely new ball game. Especially as being, a new business, a small business, we're working so hard every day to just, do well. And then there's all these things that get thrown into it that you didn't even think of were a thing. So I'm learning a lot. I will say that.
Yeah.
But it's been really interesting. So I'm excited for the pandemic to kind of end, in the sense that I'm looking forward to some normalcy.
Yeah.
But in my industry specifically, I don't believe that we're really going to see any kind of change for quite a while.
It sounds like at least a couple of years. Right? 'Cause you're 3 months behind on certain things, and
at least, I had a customer that ordered from us in December, and they're not making it in the factory until October.
Oh my God.
So, it's just, and that's just kind of a one-off, but
Yeah.
I honestly think that this is just going to kind of be how it is for a little while. And that's another reason why we're looking into other factories and bringing in new units and all those kinds of things, just so we can kind of have some kind of different variations and something to offer
you'll be
people.
able to order things and get them delivered and have
Hopefully
a beginning, finish, and end. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's very interesting. I will say that. And if this is what we need to learn in the meantime to make us stronger, then great. So.
Totally.
Yeah, I know. So it is what it is.
Should we move on to what we're watching?
Oh, yes. We should move on to what we're watching, because I know that Allie has a whole lot of things that she would like to talk about.
Well, not a whole lot, but there's a lot going on with the housewives. So,
which housewives specifically?
Okay. Well, let's start with Beverly Hills. So,
is there a lot going on?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm out of the loop.
Okay. So
I only know what I watch on TV.
There is no loop in my world. So
Erica Jane.
Right.
Okay. So as we saw in last week's episode of Beverly Hills,
right.
Erica Jane has filed for divorce. It's a big deal. Basically, everybody's kind of wondering, did Erica know?
So you know only what we've talked about,
yes,
right?
Only what you've talked about on here.
Orphans and widows, basically. Her husband, Tom Girardi, who was the lawyer in Erin Brockovich.
Okay.
Not the movie, but in real life.
In real life.
No,
Yeah.
I know who Girardi is, yes.
Okay. Allegedly was stealing from his
trust accounts.
Yeah, from his clients' trust accounts.
Right.
Money that they were owed as settlements for various
injury
things.
claims, whatever. Yeah.
So basically, he was allegedly stealing the money to fund Erica's pop star career. So,
which she spends $50,000 a month just on
40,000.
glam, just on glam.
Yeah.
So obviously, she's fantastic.
Amazing.
Have you not seen
Expensive?
Erica Jane? You need to watch. You need to look her up on YouTube. She's amazing.
It didn't really age well. No.
That's true.
But anyway,
that's very true.
When I hear this, I think of Friday by what's her name, Rebecca Black.
Okay, no, it's
no,
not like that.
it's not
Better
like
than
that.
No,
Rebecca Black.
Okay,
is her name?
better than that. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
No. Okay, so this is what happened over the weekend. A new documentary came out on Hulu, which I haven't seen. I have to figure out how to watch
Can we
it
get
here
Hulu?
in Canada.
No, we can't get Hulu,
no, we
right?
can't.
You have to have a VPN for that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have to figure out how we're going to watch that. But anyway, a new documentary just came out called The Hustler and the Housewife, which is a documentary about the situation.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that documentary came out, I think, Saturday, and yesterday, Monday, Erica's
Yesterday
lawyer...
was Tuesday.
Oh, sorry. Whatever. You know what I mean. Erica Jane's lawyer fired her yesterday.
Oh.
Which is not a good sign.
So we're assuming that has something to do with what was in the documentary.
Yes.
Interesting. I did not know that.
If we're talking about timelines here, so Erica
got all
Jane
the
filed
news.
for divorce on Election Day.
Right.
Housewives started filming in October.
Okay.
There were things that came out that she knew about in September. So she knew that this was happening, and she's on housewife trips saying, "Oh, this is why I love Tom," and that type of thing. So it's a little weird.
Well, because we had talked about last week, because they show in last week's episode, they're all in Tahoe, and one of the girls had said to Erica, like, how's Tom? And she's like, yeah, great, blah blah blah.
Oh, he's at the lawyer's office. Oh, he just works so hard, that man.
Exactly. And then at the very end of the episode, it shows the other women finding out that she filed for divorce after they had all just been on a trip to Tahoe for a couple of days. So we were talking about how we thought that was kind of interesting, that wouldn't you tell your closest friends that, hey, things aren't going too well? Maybe you don't tell them that you're getting divorced, but hey, things aren't going too well, whatever, or just some kind of inkling, some kind of inkling, because it does seem fishy that all of a sudden you get back from a trip and one of the girls announces to the media that she's getting divorced. Wouldn't you go, well, why wouldn't you say anything? It makes it seem like you're hiding something. So if you're not hiding something, you really didn't make yourself look any better.
No.
Well, I'm thinking legalities. Maybe there's something,
of course,
right? Like, you've got to get into.
Well, I'm
assuming all these ladies have like agents and publicists.
Oh, yeah, of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's a bit strange.
Suspicious. I think everybody knows that Tom was doing something, and the debate is really whether or not Erica knew about it. So,
because if her whole career has been funded on that, then that means that she has falsely created this entire life of hers, basically.
Yeah.
And that she benefited
Maybe
off
not
of
falsely created, but illegally funded.
Illegally funded.
Yes.
With innocent victims' money.
Exactly.
So, not good. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. And I'm really looking forward to tonight's episode of Beverly Hills, because we'll see kind of how the whole thing is starting to play out. So yeah, that's tonight. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I will say, I've only watched Beverly Hills. I'm kind of like, I'm watching New York, but not really. But it does kind of give a little bit of, I don't know if humility is the right word, but just kind of a little bit of reality, I guess, is just to see that these really are real people. These are real things that they're dealing with. It's not scripted, and I think we've talked about that before when Denise Richards was on the show, that I think she thought it was going to be a lot more scripted than it actually was.
An acting job.
Right.
And it's not.
And so she didn't really realize that there was things that was happening in her own life that was starting to come out on the show, and she didn't like that.
Exactly.
So she started to really act out, and she wasn't really playing by the rules of the show. And because I think she thought that it was really scripted, and it kind of just goes to show that it's not. This is just the life that some of these people live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were kind of talking about that today, especially I think in LA. There's a lot of these people that, I mean, I'm not from LA, so I don't know, but there's a lot of you hear this a lot.
It's all about I. You're not looking out for anybody else, because if I can further my career, then you don't really mean as much as you should.
And you don't let other people in.
Yeah.
And Erica's notoriously faulted for that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't let anybody in. She always has this guard up, and she doesn't trust anybody, and she doesn't let people in to actually know who she is. And so even we watching, we're like, we only see what you show us, obviously. Exactly. And we had been talking about how that's a pretty common thing about LA.
To be guarded and to not have people into your life.
Yeah. And that's just the mentality, I guess, you have to have when you're in that kind of industry and everything. So
yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to Orange County. Okay.
Like the old OC?
Oh, yeah. So
no. Real
not
Housewives.
Not the OC.
Housewives.
Real Housewives of Orange County.
Can I ask how many of these are there that are the same but different?
I think there's like 15 of them. And Allie's seen all of them. And she's watched the international
15.
ones.
I've seen some of the international ones. There's not that many.
Okay, but let's just...
Okay,
is there not like a Real Housewives of Toronto?
Orange County.
Yeah.
Is there a Real Housewives of Toronto?
And
it lasted
Vancouver?
one season.
Yeah, the Vancouver one's amazing.
Because the Vancouver one...
It's terrible.
One of the
It's great.
girls comes into my
Is
restaurant.
it Christina?
which one?
Is it Christina?
I
No,
couldn't
Christina
tell you because
doesn't
I
live
don't know.
in
I
Vancouver
saw
anymore.
her in Vancouver a few months ago, I'm telling you. I did. She was walking out of a hotel. I saw her.
I heard that she lives in Nashville now, but
I saw her.
that's neither here nor
I'd
there.
like to live
Which
in
one was
Nashville.
it? Oh, was it Mia?
I have no idea.
Is she blonde?
I think they all are.
Okay, you don't.
Pretty much. Okay. Anyway, moving on to Real Housewives of Orange County.
Can we please count how many there are? Because there's
Yes.
Beverly Hills, Orange County,
New York,
New Jersey.
It's 9 in the U.S.
Okay,
9 in
so
the US.
Gabe has come in and told us that there's 9 in the US.
Thanks
Salt
for
Lake.
fact
I know
checking.
Salt Lake is one.
Yes.
Yes, Atlanta.
I knew that.
Is
Yep.
there Louisiana
No.
or New Orleans or anything
No.
like that?
Nope.
Okay. There's a Southern Charm, Louisiana.
Yes.
It's not good.
I've never seen it.
It's not as good as the other one.
14.
There's 14 international.
Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot of housewives, and Allie has seen all of them.
Just the U.S. ones. And I've
You've
seen Melbourne and
Yes.
Sydney.
Have you
And-
watched any of the
And one
UK
season in
ones?
Toronto?
I have not watched Toronto because it's not on HeyU for some reason.
Okay.
It's weird.
But Vancouver, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Vancouver is. You should actually
Not my
watch it.
favorite.
It's pretty interesting.
It's not my favorite.
I mean, my restaurant is in Yaletown. I deal with
He sees them.
people.
It's fair. Okay. Anyways, sorry.
Okay, Orange County.
Sorry.
Today it was announced Heather Dubrow is coming back to Orange County.
Is
This
that a big deal?
Very exciting. Okay, Orange County has been horrible for years. People are saying it should have been canceled a few years ago.
It's been on for like 30 years.
There's been 15 seasons.
It's a lot.
And the last few have been just terrible. So,
Not unlike the last few seasons of the OC, the TV show.
I never saw the OC.
4 seasons of the OC. It
didn't
seems
know
like it
that.
was on for like a long time, but it was only on.
So I
4
find it
years.
strange that you like the OC. Did you watch The Hills?
Yeah, of course.
So you liked that show, yet you won't watch Bling Empire. It's the exact
I just
same.
haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's very good. I'm telling you.
I'm
It's
going to
made by
watch
the
it.
same producers.
yeah,
It's great.
so it's gonna be fake.
Well, I don't know because I never watched The Hills. So I
Okay,
have
so
no
if you
idea.
watch Selling Sunset and if you watch The Hills,
Oh wait, Selling
wait.
Sunset is the one that's made by The Hills,
gonna
not
be
Bling Empire.
my lead-in. Was I was going to ask if you watched Selling Sunset?
course.
because
Obviously, we've seen Selling Sunset.
that is something I have
Gabe,
watched.
you've never seen Selling Sunset? Oh, it's
Yeah,
great.
that's something I have watched because
Yes.
it was
You've
there on
watched Selling
on,
Sunset?
on Netflix, and
Wow.
yeah,
the girls are quite hot.
You should
Yes.
watch Bling Empire.
But I mean, shit, Gabe's laughing at that, but that doesn't seem beyond my
The
realm.
girls
but,
are hot, I will
but,
say that.
I mean, and then I got invested because the girl that was dating Arrow, was it Arrow? And then he
What?
left because she got divorced.
Oh, what's her face? Wait,
was it
what?
Stephen Amell? No, the guy from
What the hell
This
are
Is
you
Us.
talking about?
On Selling Sunset.
Chrishell.
Oh, Chrishell.
Yes.
Chrishell.
Okay, so see, I don't know names, but I watched it.
That took a lot to get to that point.
I'm sorry, I don't pay
okay.
attention to names.
Yes, Chrishell and Justin got
Okay.
divorced.
Yes.
So that was going to be one of my questions
Yes.
to you in this segment
Yes.
because
Saying
yeah,
he has a chance.
Well, kind of.
with Chrishell.
Yes, with Chrishell.
Okay.
Okay, let me just finish this segment about OC. Okay,
Anyways.
so Heather Dubrow is coming back. We're very excited. She's like everybody loves her.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She kind of made the show. Also, Bronwyn's off the show. Thank God. Also, Elizabeth, terrible, and Kelly Dodd is finally gone. She's so problematic. She is just look her up on Instagram. She's an idiot.
So what, they did a whole cast swap? Like a whole
Yes.
cast change?
Yes.
I feel
Wow.
like this could be any restaurant I ever worked in with
Oh,
interchangeable names.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So very exciting. I'm not sure when that's going to air. Obviously, they're probably just starting to film now, so it'll
so it'll be a few
while,
months.
But I'm very excited for whenever that is coming out.
Because I feel like a lot of those, of the housewife shows, they film over the summer.
They all film around different times.
Yeah, because New York doesn't film over the summer.
No,
but
they
Beverly
usually do in the
Hills
fall.
does.
Sometimes
It seems like
it
they
varies.
kinda do,
I think
yeah.
it varies, and then New Jersey sometimes films over the summer, and then sometimes they film in winter and there's snow everywhere.
Weird.
And obviously Salt Lake City films in the winter. So
Interesting.
yeah. So it just depends.
So Nick, what are you watching right now?
See, and I thought about this, and what I was watching was Yellowstone. I don't know if either of you have seen it.
Yes, I'm going to watch it
But
next. I think.
it is probably my most favorite outside of the MCU things,
Oh,
which
Gabe
Are you
loves
saying
it.
that Kevin Costner's hot?
we
Oh, I
we-
love Kevin Costner. Oh, man.
We leave it to Gabe to the ear again. It's just one of those shows that if you haven't seen it, I am part First Nations, And I have
Which
never this part. This part is Japanese. I have never.
Nick was called Chinese today.
What?
Yes,
He doesn't look Chinese.
So I went to a pub, a local hangout.
Oh, we don't need to get into the
establishment,
story. It's okay. Please
and
go
yes,
back to
I made a
Yellowstone.
Popeye reference and I got a Chinese man.
It's fine.
Neither here nor there.
Just go.
The weird segue. So Yellowstone, I've never not cheered for the First Nations, and in the first season of Yellowstone, I was actively rooting against them because of the way things worked out.
It's a very interesting
I like
show.
to tell people that if you've never seen it, take The Sopranos, but make it cowboys and politically correct First Nations, not politically correct cowboys and Indians.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was just crazy. And Kevin Costner is
Fantastic.
a really bad dude. He's excellent in it, and I just wanted to put that out there because that's one of my favorite shows right
I'm
now.
going to start watching it. My boyfriend watched it and he loved it. And now
Yeah.
I need to get caught up because the new season's coming out.
Yes.
It's coming out. It's been announced. It should be out very shortly.
Very
Yeah.
shortly.
Quickly, two other ones. One is Sex Education is coming out with season 3.
Yeah, I've heard that
I
that's a good
watched the
show,
other
and I've
season, I
never
liked
watched
it.
it.
And it's funny, it's witty, it's
Yeah.
very British.
It is,
So
yeah.
if you aren't really into like British humor,
Because
very
British humor is very, very
trite
different.
and sarcastic.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's just what it is, but it and kind of biting. But that is the humor, and I just think that it was well written, and I think Gillian Anderson is hilarious in it. Asa Butterfield, I hope I'm saying his name right, is really great too. Like the whole thing is just really done well. In today's climate, like just with the way
Yeah.
everything is with all the issues and LGBTQ plus and people of color and just high school in general, and just through all of that, I think it's just really, really well written. So
Cool.
those are the two things. And obviously all the Marvel Cinematic Universe things
Yeah.
we can go over. If you haven't, the Schneider cut is worth the 4.5 hour watch.
What the Schneider cut?
So there was this whole big thing. This is something. It's not a TV show, but it's a movie. So Zack Snyder had a tragedy happen in his life, and he had to leave the filming of the movie that came out, Justice League,
Yeah.
which came out a couple of years ago. He had
Okay.
to leave it in post production. So he was just about to start cutting it,
Right.
And he's
Oh,
like,
I
"This
see.
happened," and so they brought in Joss Whedon, which has been a whole other set of problems surrounding this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out, and it was like Justice League was like Avengers Light for the DCU, and it was
Okay.
not a very good movie. It was okay. I think it still made
I
a lot
haven't
of
watched
money
it
at the box
because I'm
office.
like, meh.
But Zach, there was this whole big petition, and it was because of the fans online. Hashtag
I like when the fans
Yes.
change.
hashtag Schneider Cut, were able to release it, and that was what happened. When they were trying to launch Crave and HBO Max in Canada, that was the big thing to bring people into HBO Max.
Gotcha.
Which allowed him to actually, they cut like 70 new scenes.
Oh,
Zack
wow.
Snyder came back and brought all the actors back and
Wow.
went through
Really?
the entirety of all the CGI. So when you watched online, I believe you can watch the movie side by side, completely different.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
And Snyder had cut it the way he wanted to into chapters. So I think there's 7 or 8 chapters total, and it's like blocks. So it's not just one big long movie. So if you
Right.
get to like chapter 4, which is like I think 2 hours in, you can cut it and be like, you know what, I'll come back to this, but it'll be like a book on TV.
Well, that's kind of cool.
And it's so well done that I think anybody who watched the first one won't be disappointed with the second one, because the second one was done that much better.
Which platform can you watch that on?
Crave.
Oh, okay.
So I know it's on Crave and HBO and all of that because they were bringing in Friends.
Right.
And that was kind of like when HBO Max
Yes.
came into Canada.
Yeah.
And not just HBO, because we've always had HBO that was
Yeah.
Ballers and all of those great TV shows.
Billions.
Billions, The Newsroom, those things.
Entourage, Sex and the
Yeah,
City.
all of
Love
it. They're all on
Entourage.
HBO, but HBO Max is trying to take
Entourage
this
is
whole
so good.
platform to kind of compete with Netflix and whatnot. The States,
Yeah.
HBO Max in the States is its own platform. Up here, Crave bought the rights to it.
Right.
So HBO Max works in conjunction with, and it's great. And they have a new movie coming out with Chris Pratt. I don't remember what it's called. Something about fighting for the universe or
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called either, but it made me laugh when I saw this screenshot of the movie because he looks like he's in every other movie that he's ever been
totally.
in.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I was like, oh, it's just Chris Pratt playing the exact same role that he's been playing.
Jurassic
I love
World
Chris
and-
Pratt, but it's
Okay.
It's
so
funny.
I need to just say this because I thought of it. Somebody said that, I don't even know where I heard this, but somebody thought that instead of saying Chris Pratt, somebody was saying crisp rat. So
rat?
now when someone says
That's
Chris
funny.
Pratt, that's all I hear is crisp rat.
That's hilarious.
Like a crisp rat.
If you say it like that, then yes.
Brat.
Chris Pratt. That's so funny, and I'm going to say that from now on.
That's all I
It's
say.
all I'm going to be thinking of.
Yeah.
As another side, if you ever look at a cat's paw, it looks like a little koala.
Really?
That was a thing on TikTok. They were like
What?
little paws, and it looks
I
like.
never even thought about that.
No,
I'm going to
if
look
you
at that when we
it,
get home.
It looks like, anyways, that's what I thought of, right? Because now I'm always going to hear Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
I'm
That's
not
all
going
I
to hear Chris
hear.
Pratt.
That's super
right?
funny. Well, I'm watching Loki, as everyone knows,
Yeah.
because I ruined it apparently last week, even though I didn't really talk a ton about it. Marcus
It was
claims
a 10-minute segment.
It was not
and you
10
went
minutes.
Shot by shot
It's
as
hard
to
to
what
know.
happened.
Well, I have
when
to
I
say-
went back to watch it, I was like, oh, I already know what happened this episode because Cher spoiled
It's
it
hard
for
to
me.
give away the show if you get all the facts wrong.
She, that is correct. And she also did pre-warn everybody by saying spoiler alert every time.
No,
You
I
can
did
say
not.
whatever
I
you want
think
as long as
of-
you
I
say
didn't.
spoiler
I didn't
alert.
say spoiler
maybe at the
alert
beginning.
at all.
At the beginning.
I don't
We
think.
should
I actually
delete
don't
that
think I
whole
did.
section.
It's kind of like that episode of Friends when Joey's like talking about Little Women, and he's like, "You remember when so and so did so and so?" Or no, sorry, The Shining.
Yes.
So and so did so and so, and put so and so
Yes.
into so and so.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
ruined the whole thing.
Yeah.
Blank, blank.
The blank. That's
Yeah,
right.
blank, blank.
Blank went to the blank.
Well,
and
and
the
I
blank.
love when he like, oh, you remember at the end when they all died and then he killed with the blank, and then she's like, you just said the entire thing. Yeah. So okay, whatever. Next time I will remember to say spoiler alert. I'm sorry.
You can't even say spoiler
I
alert.
can't even say it. Anyways, Marcus has finally watched the first episode, so now we can talk about the first episode, which I
Okay.
thought was very well done. I'm very excited about this show, and I was actually reading something the other day that, well, first of all, it's gotten huge reviews. It has been one of the most like widely received show so far of the Marvel shows that they put out. I mean, they've only put out a couple, but still. And I was reading something the other day that Tom Hiddleston had talked about how when he was first reading the script, he's really excited about the show and where it's going to go, and that it's going to make some interesting turns that we're not really prepared for, which I'm excited about. So,
Well, I mean,
did you watch the second episode?
I watched the second episode.
I
To-
knew that you would
Yeah.
watch the second episode. I only got to watch half of it because it comes out at midnight and people have to work.
To
so.
lead in to all of this,
Well, I
the
had to
last
wake up
kind
at
of
5 a.m. this
mid-phase
morning.
movie is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
So that can be a little spoiler Easter egg in here if you watch anything. As a note, through all of them, I think Loki for the first two episodes is probably my favorite just based on the first two
Me
episodes
too.
alone. I didn't think I was going to like Scarlet Witch as much as I did. I didn't think I was going to be disappointed with Falcon and the Winter Soldier as much as I was.
I won't watch the Falcon and the Winter Soldier because they're my kind of least favorite characters, so it's just they're not really my thing. And then when they brought in a new Captain America, it's not my thing.
Again, all from the comics, so they're following
Yeah,
the
right.
lines of the
Yeah,
comic
so I know
books
you
to
know
the
all
best
that
that they can.
stuff, but-
So for me, I expected it to be a little bit more buddy cop kind of thing.
Yeah,
with
right.
a little bit more humor, the way they were in Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that was a great movie.
it was, and they were
Yeah.
when they were arguing with each other, like,
Yes.
could you move over? No, move your seat up. I hate you. All those little
Yeah.
things that they made, those quips. I really liked that, and there just wasn't enough
there.
of those in the movie Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me to care as much as I did. So,
But
which
you
is
liked WandaVision, right?
I like WandaVision, and the thing is that Loki has all of those quips with Owen
Yes.
Wilson. amongst other things.
really funny. Like
It-
the first episode was quite humorous throughout the entire thing because of all of his little quips. He's got an attitude.
Yeah, some of us use those for paperweights. I thought that was hilarious because,
I actually cackled at that.
like, it.
Fun segue. I did see Owen Wilson once in YVR just walking through, and I
really?
had
That's
a double
cool.
take, but it was him.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
I didn't do anything. I was just walking to my gate,
should.
and he was just walking back.
I
so.
met Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell once.
Okay.
I said hi to them. No big deal.
I have a question. So, if somebody such as myself has never ever watched any Marvel anything, what would be the first thing that you would want to watch?
Will answer this as well
I wasn't
as
talking
you
to
answer.
you.
I'm going to also give my own answer that after Nick. Nick can answer
just
first,
kidding.
and then I will answer.
You know what? I would I'd probably do it in 3 segments, and it's not going to be anything I think Sherry's even going to think that I'm going to say. One, I would start where it started, so I would go to Iron Man.
Okay.
Like just
That's not where it started.
Iron Man was where the MCU and he
As in
can
the first
corroborate.
movie? No, but as in...
It's not where it started, but
No,
where
so
the
not
MCU started, right?
chronological?
No. That's
Okay.
why I feel like you're not going to
Sorry.
agree with it.
Okay.
But Iron Man was the first Marvel Productions company release.
Okay.
So it's kind of what got the ball rolling. There's enough in there where you get to see, if you watch all the way to the end, it introduced basically the end credits being
You
a
have to
legitimate
watch
part
until
of it.
after the end credits.
Making it legit. It introduced you to the world and the way the world would run. So if you were into that, then that's fair. The next movie in the line that I think would try to get somebody involved would be Captain America. What was it called? The second one. Winter
not
Soldier.
Civil-
No, it wasn't Winter
no,
Soldier.
it was Winter Soldier. It was the
Winter
second one.
Soldier?
Yeah.
So
Because
it
Civil
kind
War
of-
is the third one.
It
Can we
kind
get a
of
fact
ran.
check on this?
It kind of
Pretty
ran
positive
like
that it is.
like The Fugitive.
Okay.
And it was kind of not a Marvel movie while being a Marvel movie, and I really
Okay.
liked that
It was
about it.
really good.
It kind of had that pacing to it, whereas if you weren't really into the quirkiness that was Iron Man, at least this was more grounded.
Okay.
And you could get on board. And then I think the third one, I mean, for the fair weather viewer, would be Scarlet Witch.
Really?
If not Scarlet Witch, then the first Avengers, because the Avengers is kind of the whole span of the idea of the whole culmination of what they did, which is why they allowed to break it down into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Okay.
The Avengers is kind of like that whole thing. And if you don't like Avengers, full stop, you won't like the rest of everything that's been done.
Okay, good to
true.
know.
You then went back to watch Age of Ultron.
Well, so I did it chronologically because what I started doing was I watched the first Avengers and I really liked it because I liked Loki. He's my favorite character and he's a huge part of that movie. And then I decided after I watched Avengers, I thought, okay, I should really go back and kind of learn where a lot of these people are from. So I started watching the Thor movies. So I watched the first Thor and I loved it. And then I watched the second Thor and I just didn't really like it. And then it was terrible. So then I thought, okay, if I'm going to start and learn about each of these people, I should really go back and watch it all chronologically so that I actually understand. Because I've seen Captain Marvel, which is technically the first one chronologically.
Captain America, the first Avenger, would be chronologically the first one. 1940s.
Well, not on... No. Okay, well, not based on all the lists that I was reading.
We should call this podcast Arguing About Marvel.
Well, this segment at least will be.
Anyways, I didn't watch Captain Marvel, so then yes, that was the next one that I started with was Captain America. And for me personally, it helped me to understand the way that all of the events kind of played into each other because some of the movies are meant to be, you know, directly after certain things.
Right.
So I watched Thor 2 and they're talking about what happened in the second Avengers and it's like, okay, well then I have to kind of go back and watch all of it. So
man.
That's personally what I did. And then, I mean, I skipped over some of them like The Incredible Hulk because I couldn't find it.
If you do watch it on Disney Plus,
They have
it in chronological order. So you can just start with one and just work your way through it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the way they do with Star Wars and where all the extra movies like Rogue One and all of that, including like The Mandalorian, where all of that fits in within the timeline.
Yeah.
They do it for you as well. It kind of makes it easy viewing, right?
I will say, like, I'm not a superhero person. I've always really been very vocal about how that's not what I'm into. These movies are not what I thought that they were going to be. I've seen individual ones over the years as they've come out, but I didn't really fully get into it. And this is not what I thought that they were. They're not as cheesy as I thought that they were going to be.
Imagine if you took Lord of the Rings,
which you like.
I do like Lord of the Rings.
chapters, but you become invested because you have to read 1 to understand 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't jump into 2 and 3 and know because you're not going to know what the Fellowship is, right?
Totally.
Right.
So Avengers the whole MCU is kind of like that. They have taken that idea and intertwined little things, and as you watch, it turns into, oh, that's that person.
Yeah.
All right, this is the introduction. So, for instance, in Thor, sorry, I'm going to ruin something. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Trigger.
In Thor, you first meet Hawkeye.
Okay.
But you don't, right?
That's true.
You don't actually know who Hawkeye is because they ask where Agent Barton is, and he just says, "Oh, he's up in his perch where he normally is." And that's something that for an archer and a sniper, he's up in his perch and it's, oh my God, that's Hawkeye, right?
And then he becomes like a huge character in some of the other movies.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
just little things like that.
Okay.
Okay, I think that we should do a small business shout out and then we should wrap it up.
Okay, cool. My small business shout out is Good Life Juice.
Ooh,
They really saved my ass today because it was birthday week. I ate and drank everything in sight for like 5 or 6 days straight. And I was not feeling my best self today. I felt like I needed to get some vegetables in me ASAP. So I went straight to Good Life Juice. I spent $22 on juice, but I feel so good now. So
your skin's glowing.
They're an awesome small business, and they've now just recently expanded. They're in like a bunch of different stores. They're now in co-op gas stations. So which
good
is
for them.
really awesome because
it's
That's cool.
it's very hard in a retail market like that
totally.
to get shelf space.
and how awesome that you can now go into a convenience store and get something that's actually
Local.
healthy. Like how amazing is that? So shout out to Good Life.
Wow, I love that. I'd like to just tag on something very small to what you just said. So it was Allie's birthday last week. Allie had a birthday party at one of her friends' houses.
A small birthday.
It was a very small thing.
I think you can have up to 10 now, right? In
Yeah,
houses?
then
which
there was less than that.
Yeah, less than that. So but
Sorry. Anyways, Allie told me, I said, what can I bring? And she goes, bring an appy. And so I was like, okay, sounds good. So on Friday, I got off work at like 6 o'clock and I told her I was going to be there by 6:30. So I thought, okay, I don't want to stop at a store. And even if I do stop at a store, they're not going to have anything that's going to be good for an appetizer. I mean, I'm going to show up with chips and dip. So I thought it would be really funny to get a whole bunch of nuggets and fries and show up at Allie's with all of these nuggets and fries. So great. So I do a pre-order through the McDonald's app. And then we like finish getting ready. We left the house. We stop at the liquor store. I'm like, okay, it should definitely be ready by now. Pull up to the parking thing and it's like, oh, put in your number stall. So I do that and it goes, oh, your order is just getting started. And I was like, I ordered 80 nuggets and 6 large fries. So great. So I'm like, okay. So I hit okay. And then it goes, your order can't be processed. Please go inside.
Oh my God.
Yes. So I go inside and I said to the girl, I'm like, hey, I tried to do a mobile order, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, well, what would you like? So I said 4 20-piece nuggets and 6 large fries. And she's like, 4 20-piece nuggets? And I was like, yes. And she's like, and 6 large fries. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay. And then her manager comes over and she's like, it's 4 20-piece nuggets. And he's like, 4. I'm like, yes. And he's like, that's going to be at least 10 or 15 minutes. And I was like, okay. They were so busy in there.
Oh my God.
So busy. The drive-through was insane. And Jeremy's texting me the whole time being like, I'm pretty sure our order is like shut down this McDonald's because nothing's moved since you went in there.
It took 3 people in an app to tell you 4. Did you really want 4 20-piece nugget meals?
20 minutes later, I get my nuggets and I show up to Allie's house and I've got these like bags full of nuggets and everyone's like, why do you have all of these nuggets? And I'm like, I don't even know.
We know why Allie feels like shit.
Yeah,
after
because
a week
we
later.
ate $80
It totally makes
worth
sense
of
now.
McDonald's.
Thanks for the context.
It's ridiculous.
You need the juice to get over the
I don't know if I
McNugget.
ate
I felt
the McNuggets.
terrible the next day. I will say that. I ate at least 20 nuggets.
I also went to Nesvog. Shout out. That's another small
I love
business.
Nesvogs.
I bought all these burgers. I bought a cheese plate. I brought spinach dip. So
I didn't eat
there
any
was-
of those things.
there was just way
Wait,
too
you guys
much.
mix that all in with alcohol and you
Yeah.
expect to be fine at the end of the tunnel there? No.
Yeah, but Allie carried on her birthday day into a birthday weekend.
That was day 2. I guess day 3.
I thought it was always a birthday week, though.
Oh, yeah.
I've always had a birthday week.
I've always had a birthday week, but now
I have a
think
birthday month.
I might be over the birthday week.
No, you won't.
We'll see.
Next year, I'll
TBD.
probably be like, let's do this.
Yeah, probably.
Well, my small business shout out is Sea Salt Picnic. I just want to make sure that I get their name on Instagram correct. So Sea Salt is a new company. It is started by my lovely Nash girl. Oh my God. I'm trying to say nail tech and I don't even know where that came from.
You were thinking Lash.
I was thinking Lash. I don't even know why. My nail tech Jessica is amazing. She's just Peachy Nails on Instagram. You probably follow her because she's absolutely amazing. She recently started a new company beside her nail business called Sea Salt Picnic Social. So it's seasalt.picnic social on Instagram. So they will come and set up a picnic for you wherever you like. So for instance, you're doing Neck Point, or you want to have it in your backyard or up on Mount Benson. I'm sure they wouldn't like that, but you know what I mean? So anywhere that you want, they will come and set up a picnic for you, and there's various different packages where they do, all the pillows and the table setup with the plates and the cutlery and the glassware, decor, everything. And then they'll also give you, your champagne and your food and desserts and all this kind of stuff. So they have packages on their website. It's all through their Instagram. You can click right through to their website. You can see the various different kinds of packages. They're booking, like they've already done a few, and they're booking throughout the summer. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, I would suggest doing that now before the weather. Yeah. I was telling Jessica yesterday, I thought that's such a great idea for stag parties or stagettes.
Yeah.
You're like, what a neat idea. Going down to the beach and you're getting it all, your whole thing is, and Nick's already looking them up. And I am. So Sea Salt Picnic Social, Jessica's amazing. I also wish that we had a nail cam because I would show my lovely nails that I got done yesterday.
Nice. Those are beautiful.
They're gorgeous. I'm very happy with them.
Instagram.
We will definitely put those up on our Instagram. If we had a nail cam like we asked Marcus to do, then you could see those. But that's fine.
That's extra.
That's what? That's extra?
Okay.
Anyways, Sea Salt Picnic Social. Go and check them out. Sounds like a fantastic thing for the summer. I would love to do that. So I just might book me one of those. Gabe is already looking. Nick, what is your small business shout out?
So I thought about doing something like, it doesn't have to be Nanaimo, right?
No.
Okay, so I thought about a few places in Port Alberni. One, Cloud City Apparel, took off during the pandemic.
Yep. Very
local to Port Alberni. It kind of is the same. If you've heard of Storm, the surf shop, if you know, same logo ideas. They come up with different logos and they're really cool. I have a hoodie that I'll show both of you ladies in my car that I just bought. Every time I'm
Marcus, you should check them out.
Every time I stop, that's where every time I'm in Port, that's where I stop and grab. Or the donut shop. I don't know if you've been to the donut shop.
I've heard so much about this donut shop. I've never been there.
So they make donuts fresh the way they used to make donuts. Like, I think of the way Tim Hortons used to have like actual ovens in every Tim Hortons. The muffins that used to be in Woodgrove before it was a Booster Juice.
Yes.
The donut shop still does.
You said muffins.
That's what it was called.
You don't call it muffins. It's muffins.
I just think it's funny.
You ask anybody.
Had 3 M's.
It's 3 M's.
I know.
Muffins.
I forgot about that place. That's where Booster Juice is now,
that's where
right?
Booster Juice is now.
Yes.
Right.
Which is a whole other topic for a whole other good conversation.
Anyways.
So I thought about certain things like that, but I actually want to do a small business shout out to Brendan and Bryce.
Yes.
I don't know if we know who they are, but they created
have a
mobile bar business called Travel Bar, and I think that's really
so
cool because I've known both of them for quite some time through various industry things here in Nanaimo, and I just think that the more people can talk about their friends and what they're doing, and they had no idea I was going to do this. They didn't ask anything. It's just, I think that their travel bar idea is an excellent, because they literally show up in this outfitted, basically expandable camper on the back of a truck, and it's an entire bar. So if you're throwing in an outdoor event, they expand it, they pop it up. It's like a pop-up bar on wheels.
Wow.
And then they make
got
cocktails and taps and craft beers.
Cool.
And I mean, there's a ton of different local breweries. I think of Twin Cities in Port Alberni that just won, I think, the most ever at the BC Beer Awards. I think they won 11 awards for their beers.
Wow.
Dog Point, Aerosmith, White Sails, I believe. Gabe knows him very well, but I believe Spencer works at White Sails. And these ladies are chuckling because we all know. There's a bunch of different breweries. Like I think of the old ones like Phillips and all of that, Moon, Hoyne, places like that. But I thought a local shout out to some guys that have basically started from the bottom and now they're here. They're doing their own thing. I think that would be something, mobile picnics.
Exactly. That's a really good pairing, actually, and especially with weddings. I mean, the wedding industry is going to start ramping up now because of the summer. We're finally allowed to have these outdoor events. I had actually been thinking about hiring those guys for our casual reception, it just wouldn't work with how my mom's property is.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, but she's like on a busy road, and I'm like, we can't set up on this road.
No.
It just wouldn't work.
A pop-up or on a
No,
road.
but I mean, somebody who's been in the wedding industry, done a lot of weddings, worked with weddings, that kind of stuff, this is the perfect opportunity to have something unique. They show up, you know, your guests can go and have something fun. What a neat idea, especially if you have a really cool piece of property.
Or the ability to have a pop-up bar, just like, and
just
the
like
way it
having
looks.
a backyard party or whatever.
I believe it's Table Bar. No, sorry, their website is
Oh yeah, I'm not positive.
Travel Bar. It's just Travel Bar on Facebook.
And they're on Instagram too.
Which leads me into very quickly my shower thought, because I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
$1 million idea. Once
Here
we're
we
out
go.
of the pandemic, all of these restaurants are going to have plexiglass for days. The
I've already thought of
separators.
this.
What is all that plexiglass going to do? Where is it going to go? And who's going to use it? Like, what are you going to do after the pandemic's over? You're not going to need these giant sheets of clear plastic dividers anywhere. So if you can figure out what are you going to do with it?
reuse them with?
If you could come up with a plan where you could just buy them back at pennies on the dollar
And reuse
and
the
then reuse them for
plexiglass.
something,
Yeah.
like you'd make a ton of money.
I had
Yeah.
been kind of thinking about last year. I was really into doing like resin art,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about how you could make something to do with resin. Like imagine you're in a bar and you need a screen or something like that. Imagine doing fresh like lemon wheels and lime wheels all in a huge big plexiglass sheet as part of like a bar decor or a
that'd be
screen
kinda
or
cool.
something, right?
Yeah.
And so I was starting to think about how maybe that is the new normal though. Like maybe that is a product idea that you're selling to restaurants to incorporate that as part of your decor. Or like I know Bin 4, they were so lucky to open during the pandemic because they incorporated those kinds of things and those COVID restrictions and screens and everything as part of their restaurant.
Right.
So maybe that's what you have to do with those kinds of things is repurpose those in some way that it makes sense. Because think about it, this isn't going to be the only pandemic that we're ever going to deal with. You know, flus, everything, every single year. Think about how many times you've gotten sick working in the service
God,
industry.
so many
I mean,
times.
we used to have colds all the time.
disgusting.
Excuse me.
You know, you wash your hands all the time when you're in the service industry, but you're touching so many things, money, glassware, plates, everything. Maybe that is a good thing to be keeping those things still in place.
Totally.
As I cough in a pandemic, right?
I know. We've all been
me.
vaccinated. Nick has been double vaccinated. We're good to go.
We're good to go.
Okay.
Anyways, I believe that was a fantastic episode 3.
Yeah.
Really great to have you on
Thank you
as
for
our
having me,
first
ladies.
guest.
I thought
You
it was
did
going to
Thanks
be a
for
little
coming.
more hilarity, but it
I thought it
flowed
was
really
too. You
nice.
don't think it was funny?
No. I just thought you two weren't going to be able to rein me in, but as I sat
agree.
here,
I honestly
You were
thought
way
that
more
too.
serious than
I
I thought you would be.
I honestly thought we were gonna have to like really pull you in
I know
on
Gabe
tangents.
was looking at that too, and
Yeah.
right, and kept things succinct and
As
quiet.
I've always
and-
said, you trained me on my bar training at the French Place. And
The French
there's
Place.
a very structured training that's supposed to happen. And I can honestly say you only talked about Scotch clubs the entire time that you were training me. I didn't learn anything.
Nobody, you can mix a drink, but if you don't know about Scotch properly, how are you going to sell Johnny Walker Blue?
Yet the restaurant that we worked at, not many people came in trying to buy Scotch.
No.
Like that wasn't a huge part of
To be fair, I
what we
did sell
sold.
quite a bit of it though. I did. Nobody else did.
Nobody else did.
Anyways, this was great. It was great to have you on
Thanks for
here.
having me,
We would
ladies. I
gladly
appreciate
have
it.
you back
Yeah.
next time. Oh, never mind. It's okay. I won't talk about it. I'll save it for next episode.
Okay.
It's okay. I
All
was
right.
going to say that we're going to see a movie tomorrow, and I'm very
Oh.
excited about it. And I'm so excited that theaters are finally back open. That was the one thing I was so excited. Gabe is wanting to be invited, which we'll have to invite her. We're going to see A Quiet Place 2, which
No, thank you.
I'm so excited about this movie, and Nick has never seen A Quiet Place 1, so I'm going to make him watch it
So
tonight.
she got so excited about this movie. And
I called
it was
him
like
at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. I work in an industry where I'm up until about midnight, so I'm in bed
At
by 3 or
least.
4. And she calls me at 7 a.m. to tell me she's so excited about this movie. And then she goes, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go see a Quiet Place 2." And I was like, "Okay, well why aren't you as excited as I am? We're going back to the theater. We're gonna see this movie." I don't think I've seen the first one to know what this one's about. You didn't see it? I was being yelled at on the phone at 7 o'clock in the morning. The sun is beaming in my eyes. I think I had just spent 12 hours on a boat because I'm in the middle of commercial fishing season. And I just was like, well, we're going to have to fix that. I'll talk to you later. Click. And she got mad at me
Oh my God.
on a phone.
I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, neither was
I called him and he answers and he goes, what planet is it acceptable to call me at 7 a.m.?
Oh my
And
God.
I was like, I'm working. I mean, this is when my best thinking is happening.
Excited about a movie I've never seen.
It's fantastic. I can't wait. We're going to watch
Okay.
it tonight and we're going to see the second one tomorrow. Okay.
Okay,
We're
sounds
done.
good.
Thank you
Okay.
for watching. Thank you. And we'll
Bye,
see you
everyone.
next week.
Bye.